Hey, paisans, the time has come. On the air since 2009, the independently produced, non-FCC compliant champ of video game talk podcasting. Here comes Tiger Claw Radio. Here's your host, Critical Failure.
Welcome everybody to Tiger Claw Radio. I'm your host, Critical Failure. It's Friday. It's 8:23. It's time to party with your excellent host.
And also, here's his son.
All right, so we
Critical
got
success.
Yeah, so we got. You know what's funny was years ago, when I used to play Team Fortress 2, I was in a clan called Killstreak that later changed their name to the Corner Pub, and that was when you were a little baby. So a lot of times I would sit in the Mumble server, and you would be in my lap, and you would make like baby noises, and the other people could hear you, and they all nicknamed you Mini Crit at the time. Yeah, so that was your, I guess, your first internet name, but you were probably like 7 months old. At the time, you were like baby's age. But all right, so this week we got some chip tunes, some kind of music that I pulled a little while back, and we've got I don't have a vancast, but I have like a pre-recorded bit in place of a vancast that I recorded at about 2:00 today. So we'll roll that. Let's talked about some import PS1 games, and we talked about some other cool stuff. So let's kick things off. It's going to be a great show. We're going to enjoy ourselves. We're going to have a great time. Positive vibes. Video games. Awesome. Stick with us. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. All right, so for the music we're going to do, this is called Legend of Zelda Remade. It's from Isabel Chiming? Isabel Chiming. It's pretty close. Nearly indistinguishable, so I don't know. Take that as you will. It's a free album. It's got 24 tracks on it. Go over to Bandcamp, get yourself a copy. There's 2 songs. So we got Junior here. Now, he and I picked out tracks like we usually do. And you can vote for which one you like the best. But they're like classic Zelda tracks. So, we all have our own opinion, I think, going into this. But my track was... should we do yours first?
Yeah?
Yeah, okay, so your track was track number 8, which is labeled Dungeon 3 Manji? Manji. All right, and here it is. I'm partial to Link's Awakening. Of all the Zelda games, that is far and away my favorite in a big way. And believe me, I know this is totally clouded by nostalgia. Like the Zelda games have been made more engaging, they've been made better looking, but none of that matters. Link's Awakening is my favorite. It's the one my older brother had. It's the first. I don't know, it wasn't the first game I saw on the Game Boy, but it was one of the first games I saw on the Game Boy. And Tal Heights, which is track number 4, is my pick. So here we go. Isabel Chimming, Zelda remade, Tal Heights. Okay, so again, I don't have a Vancast because I'm not driving anywhere, but I did record something here in the studio much earlier in the day. Had some fun, talked about some imports and some other stuff. Let's go there now. Stick with us. This is about the closest thing I can get to a Vancast this week. This is being recorded at 2:30 in the afternoon. I typically do these at nighttime, so we're going to do a little pre-recording, party recording, whatever. Vancast from home. Alright, let's talk about some video games. So there was a Sega Classics sale over on Steam in the past week. So Sega has had their Genesis collection on pretty much any platform you can think of in one way or another. And the Steam iteration has been on sale for a good number of years. They released like a Sega Genesis Classics collection, like, I don't know, maybe 5+ years ago. And they released it in several packs. Okay, so I bought 3 of the 4 packs. This was years ago when it first came out. And then the last pack I left unpurchased for many years. It had Phantasy Star 2, 3, and 4 in it, most notably. And I finally picked it up just this past week. And the way they do it is they take all of the games together, and it was sold together at a discounted rate, and it was discounted a little extra depending on how many games you owned. Since there was only 4 games left, or whatever, that I didn't own, it ended up being $1.80 for me. So, so I have, I've got, I want to know exactly what they were, because I bought it because it had Phantasy Star in it, but there were other games as well. I think one of the Wonder Boy games was in there, but anyway, so I picked that up off of Steam, and I played. What's funny is I ended up having a good time with the Sega Genesis collection, but I didn't end up playing that. I ended up playing a side-scrolling game I wasn't familiar with. It's like E-SWAT or something like that. Some sort of like Contra-type game. Oop, hang on. But it didn't feel like Contra. It felt a little bit more like an old DOS game, like one of the original Duke Nukem games or something of that nature. So I kind of liked it. Kind of wish I could remember what it was called. Had some fun with that, and I went back and played some good old Sonic the Hedgehog, the original Sonic. They added achievements at one point to that game, which is hysterical to me because they added them so late in the lifespan of that software that if you look at the percentage of people who have collected those achievements, it's very, very slim. For example, I think the easiest one is in a Golden Axe. The original Golden Axe, there's an achievement for using a magic item when there's no enemies around. And then the achievement is called, what are the buttons again? So I think that's something a lot of us have done at one point. You use the screen clearing one, just trying to figure out the buttons. I think that happens more in Streets of Rage than Golden Axe, but even as easy as that is, I think that achievement was acquired by like 3% of the user base or something like that. So very unfortunate that it appears that the old Sonic slash Sega Genesis slash Mega Drive collection largely forgotten about on the Steams. But yeah, I have acquired them, had a good time. Eventually I'll swing around to playing the Phantasy Star games. Yeah, I want to finish playing through the first Phantasy Star, kind of, at some point. Because I was playing through that on the Wii, like, a couple of years back, and I really had a good time with it. It had some really cool moments in it, too. Like, there's one point where you like, fall asleep and face off against a nightmare, and it's like a boss battle, and he eventually kills you, but then you wake up. I don't know. It had some... It was old school and cumbersome, but it had some moments in it that I thought were super clever. Like, I really dug it. But you know, it is what it is. Still playing through Doom 64. Doom 64 is a fun game. It took me a while to come around. I got stuck for a little while, but now I'm charging on through it. You guys know I like my first-person shooters, especially when they're old first-person shooters. Well, what better game than a Doom game, right? One thing that bothers me about the Steam release of Doom 64 is there's a lot of unskippable introduction scenes. A lot of them. Like, yes, it's Doom 64, but it's still a Bethesda game. Everybody's been talking about the Resident Evil 3 remake demo. That's been one of the, big headlines in video games right now, and I gotta be honest, I haven't bothered. It's still, first of all, it's still just a demo. Second of all, it came in with mixed results. So I'm not going to be buying the game for $60. Why bother with the demo? I don't know. I think, to be perfectly honest, it's just because I know it's going to be like an hour download, and I don't want to bother if it's just going to be a demo. You know what? Just get back to me when the game's been around a little longer and you're ready for the price to come down a little bit. I'm okay with it, and I'm okay with the multiplayer being dead by then too. That's all right. I've got Dead by Daylight if I want to hide from a killer. Over on eBay, I've been looking at PS1 games, and I guess it's because of the pandemic. People haven't been ordering stuff, but there have been a good number of PS1 games that have gone up for cheap. So we have the pandemic, and we have that combined with the fact that PS1 games have just taken a dip in the past couple of years. So let's see what I was able to get my hands on, or at least what I was able to order. You can order things now, you can put the money in, but everything's taken forever to get here. Because, of course, everybody who's involved with shipping, they're prioritizing and doing what they can to get supplies moved around. But let's take a look. Back it up just a little bit. Bear with me. Dragon Quest IV for the PlayStation 1. Got that for $2.25. I'm surprised. $2.25. I didn't know that Dragon Quest IV had a PS1 release, and there's no way I'm going to be able to play it in English. But $2.25. That's a nice shelf piece, right? Good old Dragon Quest, etc. Ridge Racer. You guys like Ridge Racer? It's a racing game from a bygone era, back when racing games could be arcade games and it was fine. I used to play Rage Racer, which was like, I guess, Ridge Racer 3 or something. It was a PS1 game. I used to play Rage Racer quite a bit. I enjoyed that game very much. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on some Rage Racer's next of kin. I like pachinko games, so I put bids on like a couple of Japanese pachinko / slot machine games. Practical Patchy Slot Technique Super Light 1500 series. That doesn't look like pachinko. That looks like a slot machine. I've got a game like that on the original Game Boy. Just buying up cheap Game Boy games because you can get them. You can get Japanese original gray Game Boy cards for like $3 or $4. And I got a hold of a slot machine game. This is like a couple years back. Again, not pachinko because I love my pachinko, but traditional one-arm bandit slot machine game. Very, very simple. You put the quarters in, you pull the thing, that's really all you do in the game. Stuck that in my Game Boy, and I sat the Game Boy on my shelf next to where like my keys were. And I guess because it was such a simple game, I ended up playing the Game Boy more while it had that slot machine game in it than I think the previous couple of years combined. So don't scoff at a slot machine game. Also picked up PS1's Chocobo Racing for $2.76. I don't have a cover for that one, but it does have the case. It's got like the jewel case, but just the bare disc sort of peering out. I'm looking forward to that. I don't know what that'll be like. I assume it's going to be like Final Fantasy VII when you race the Chocobos. I'm hoping it's just that bit, but its own game. That's kind of what I'm hoping. That was $2.76. What do we got here? Slaughter Mania Core Oasis, $1.35. This is another slot machine game. Ace Combat was 76 cents. Ace Combat 2 was $1.71. Bust a Move in Japan for $1.25. Not to be confused with the Bust a Move game in the United States, which is Puzzle Depon, I think they called it in Japan. The puzzle bobble game where you have the bubbles and you shoot them up and then the match colors disappear. No. In the United States, we called it Bust a Groove, and it was a dancing game. It was a rhythm game that came out before DDR. It was in the PS1 era with a rhythm-based button combination dancing and dancing battles. And I used to play it with my older brother. I really dug it. It was weird. It's kind of like a guilty pleasure game, I guess. But it was fun. I played it. My older brother played it. NG played it. And the three of us were actually pretty competitive at the time. So it's also not... Actually, to be honest, I don't know how much it goes for. But it's been a long time since I've encountered a copy. Looking forward to having the Japanese copy. Pretty sure I'll be able to play it anyway. What else do we have here? Oh, that was $3. What was that? I'm sorry, $1.25. And then we've got PS1 Parlor Pro Junior Volume 2 for $3. That's Pachinko. And Pachio-kun Pachinko Land Diabuken for $1.25. That's more Pachinko. So how many games is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 PS1 games. I got 10 PS1 games coming in the mail now. They're going to show up. They're going to sit in the garage for 48 hours just to make sure they don't have anything with them, any nasties and whatnot. And I'm really looking forward to that. But until they come, there's only one PS1 game that matters. You guys know what that is. That's Suikoden. And I've been looking forward to clearing my plate so I can play it. It's been actually really difficult to find time. That's the way it is with RPGs, man. That's the way it is. I had a couple of really long sessions and it's been difficult to get back into it. Even now that I know I have save and load state, it's just been difficult to find the time. I don't know what it is. Don't know what it is. You know, man, I'd love to own a copy of Suikoden though. Wouldn't that be amazing? Right now, I'm bidding on a Japanese copy of Metal Gear Solid, the original Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation 1. That was a pivotal game for me. I remember when Metal Gear Solid came out, it was like, I can't remember being more excited about a game's release. This was like, we couldn't afford to get a game at release, but we went out and rented it because Blockbuster was still around then. Oh man. And I played the demo before it came out. We had a little demo that I played like over and over and over again. And it looks like, based on the images I'm seeing of what I'm bidding on, that the Japanese version has a demo for Suikoden 2, which would be really cool. Of course, when you have an RPG and it's in Japanese, if there's no English patch, then there's not really much you can do with it except kind of look at the sprite work and click around a little bit, but that's all I need. I mean, these are discount games, being purchased at discount rates, so you get them and there's discount fun, so that's perfectly fine as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, to play Metal Gear Solid again, I still have my original version. This is one of the few games that actually survived when I sold my games off years ago. I probably should just dust off the old copy and play it, but yeah, of all the Metal Gear Solid games, that first one is my favorite. By a long shot. By a long shot. Well, that's about all the time I have to record this bit. This is typically when I send you guys back to the studio, but that's where I am already. So I guess at this point, we'll check out a chiptune or something. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Stick with us. All right, back again in the studio. Back again here and now. Back at 8:30 p.m. on Friday. Feels good, man. So here we are, 22 minutes into the podcast. So this is just like the time where I like to take a minute to thank the sponsors. It's a Patreon-sponsored show. These are our very special individuals. They give of their resources to make sure we can come back every week. And I say that every week. Feels like a little bit of a cliche, but it's not. They really are the life's blood of the show. So to them, I offer early access to the program. Whenever I do something supporter exclusive, usually like once a month or so, it goes up for them. And I also read their names off in a hall of distinguished gentlemen. They are Hemrock, Sendu, Tecmoballs, Darabka, Konstantin Kelman, and Eric Controller. Thank you guys very much, and I hope you're enjoying the party. All right, here's Isabel Chemming with the Zelda Remade, Legend of Zelda Remade. We're listening to The Lost Woods on Tiger Claw Radio. All right, kiddo, you ready for the fail bag? You're dead quiet. You know that's not how podcasting works, right?
Yes, I'm ready for the
All
fail bag. I just wanted to see a reaction to some nice, good,
All right.
dead quiet.
All right. Okay, so let's do some fail bag. Give me a second here. We're going to head over to...
If you want fails, go get a banana peel.
Do we get stuff on YouTube? I see the thumbs up on YouTube, like the bell, and I get all excited. It's just nonsense. Okay, so we're going to go to the email first. Oh yeah, there was a new Vaporhead album. I wanted to play Vaporhead which is a German guy who makes disco tunes on Bandcamp. But the problem is, and it's a free album too, but the problem is all of the songs, there's 4 songs on it, and they're 15 minutes, 16 minutes, 14 minutes, and 14 minutes. Nothing I can play here on the air, time-wise. I don't know. Maybe I'll clip out a couple minutes so you guys can sample it. But Vaporhead makes really good like future funk / disco music that I very much enjoy. My goodness, not very widely listened to, but this guy's got some good albums. But yeah, that's for another time. For now, we're headed over to, let's see, we got one from Hemrock, who sent me one here. Let's just get it open. Here we go. Greetings, CF. Peace to you and your family as we experience Holy Week and celebrate Easter this year. That's right, Easter. God bless. I hope that all is well with you and those around you. Thanks for another episode of TCR. It is something I look forward to and is a highlight of my week. I appreciate the work you put into it. I'm sure it's not always easy and or fun at times. You're right. It's work. I do work all the time. I'm Mr. Work. It's super serious.
AKA person who gives me video games on the weekends.
I used to eat quite a bit of Subway back in the day. I still remember being able to get a foot-long chicken teriyaki sandwich for only $5. Those were the days. Unfortunately, I don't make it to Subway very often anymore because my wife is not a fan. It's funny, mine either. Mine either, at all. It doesn't help that the prices have gone up quite a bit. I know I missed the annual MagFest Subway venture this year. Next time, I need to make sure to get on the Subway train. So
what goes up must come down, but possibly not in this case, unfortunately.
Have you ever been to Subway? Do you know what he's talking about? Subway's the place that sells, they sell sub sandwiches, big long ones. But they've been around a long time. They're kind of like fast and they're low grade sub sandwiches. Like Jersey Mike's is a lot better. You like Jersey Mike's? Hey.
Not sure.
You there?
Well,
I love it how direct questions are met with dead silence. But everything else is All right.
Well, here's one thing. How many substitutes will they go through to make one?
Okay, let's get back to the email. Is the Bite Jacker video game any good? You know, Hemrock, I remember it not being...
Nope.
I remember it being okay, but it didn't hold my attention. I'm interested to see if it's still around. I'm looking it up right now. Bite Jacker game. Play on Armor Games. So it's a browser game that is apparently still here. Armor Games still has it. I'm just making sure it will actually load. I'm trying to bring up some footage of it as well. Looks like we are failing on all fronts. Stand by. There's the footage. We'll skip ahead a few seconds. Oh, that's just a trailer. Yeah, it's like a zombie arena shooter. It's got pixel art. The pixel art looks really good. Flash needs to be updated, but it does still exist. I don't know, man. I haven't played a browser game in a long time, but it looks pretty good. All right, let's get back to the email. Any Suikoden updates? Nope. I wish there were. Do you know what Suikoden is? Have you ever played an RPG, kiddo? Do you know what an RPG is?
I have a little from that weird RPG game maker game that I used to like when I was young, but otherwise not really.
Yeah, your first introductions to RPGs was RPG Maker. That blows my mind. Because me and the people who listen to this, we grew up with a certain kind of game where you would walk around and talk to people, and you would get information, and then you would get in random battles, and you would level up and all that stuff. All the stuff that you have in Dungeons and Dragons, we would have in these RPG games. And RPG Maker was like a program for people who loved those types of games. So you kind of got introduced to it backwards. You learned RPG Maker without ever having played an RPG. Did you ever play Pokemon? I know you play the Pokemon cards. Did you ever play the Pokemon game, like the video game? No? No. Okay, so here's the deal. So I want to introduce Junior here to an RPG, a nice classic JRPG.
Uh-oh.
What? I'm not going to pick it. This is how we're going to do it, kiddo.
Okay.
I'm not going to pick it. I want the listeners, you guys out there, what is the JRPG that I should show him, that I should have him play?
Nothing cringy, please.
I'm thinking not Chrono Trigger, because I don't want to I don't want to be the person who introduces him to Chrono Trigger. Maybe Final Fantasy Mystic Quest? I don't know. Think about it. Let me know what you think. Suikoden is one of those games, and that's a game that I've been talking about putting an essay-type video together about. That's what he's asking about, any Suikoden updates.
Finally know what this guy's been talking about for the last few weeks.
All right, let's get back to the email. I'm very interested in TCR Fest. As far as location goes, my guess is that I do not have many TCR fans that live near me. Me either. But I'd be willing to make the trip up to...
Me.
Yeah? Are you my fan?
No.
Are you my fan? Would you like me to give you an autograph? Ow.
What is wrong with
All
you?
right. Hold on. I'm going to give you an autograph right now.
No! Please, don't.
There. Hold on. There you go. I wrote the word butt on a piece of paper.
Why?
It's your autograph. It's my autograph. It could be worth something one day. All right.
It's already worth something. That something is nothing. Hi, butt.
I'd be willing to make the trip to Maryland. I want to get through this.
Okay.
We're not even halfway through this email. Come on, man. These are the Hemrock's emails have been a source of quite a bit of content. All right, I appreciate these emails.
Yeah, like
We're gonna read it.
sarcasm.
We're gonna read it. All right. As far as location goes, I'm guessing I do not have many TCR fans that live near me, but I'd be willing to make the trip to Maryland area if that's where the party will be held. Additionally, I plan on purchasing the TurboGrafx 16 Mini this summer, which has Dungeon Explorer. It also appears to have to be able to support up to 10 players, provided that you have 2 multi-taps and 10 controllers. I'd be more than happy to bring the console. I also have at least 2, probably 3 or 4 Sega Saturn controllers. I just need to dig through my archive to find them, but I'd be willing to bring those if needed. However, I do not have Sega Saturn Bomberman. I also have a Sega Dreamcast with 4 controllers and an N64 with 4 controllers. It'd be great to have some local 007 or Perfect Dark going on. You can even play Quake 3 Arena on the Dreamcast. All right, so let's talk about this TCR Fest thing for a while. The idea, just to recap from last week, was it's sort of like a convention, but like a private con, just like maybe like a party, a little, not even a party, just a little gathering where we could get together in like a sleep in or like a hotel somewhere. One of those places like just off of I-95. We see these. Any highway has them, right? There's usually a Waffle House. There's usually a Cracker Barrel, and there's also like one of these like Best Western type places. That's all we would need. We just get 3 or 4 people, or however many are interested, meet in one of those places. You bring a sleeping bag, you crash on the floor, right? We eat Cracker Barrel and Waffle House late, deep into the night, and we play Dungeon Explorer with 4 to 6 people, whatever we could do. Dungeon Explorer is in the picture in my head. That's what I see. But there's a lot of other stuff we could do. Now, you talked about the Dreamcast. Dreamcast has a few games that would be prime for this. We could play, what's the game with the mice and the rockets? Choo Choo Rocket. We could play Choo Choo Rocket. You ever play Choo Choo Rocket with 4 people? No, you haven't. Because you haven't lived. How could I live?
If I haven't lived, then how would I be talking to you? And also, if I haven't lived, how would I change
Have you ever played Choo Choo?
into butt faces?
Have you ever played Choo Choo Rocket with 4 people? When's the last time you played Choo Choo Rocket? Do you remember that game? No?
I remember it a little. I remember it being a very weird game.
It was the one you put arrows down, and that there's the mice, and you're trying to guide the mice to the rocket so that they can go to the moon for some reason. I don't know. And then there's like the cats, but the cats are really kind of poorly drawn.
And I also think there are areas where you want the cats to eat the mice.
Well, then when the cat goes to your rocket, you lose 50 points. So you want to guide the cats to the other rockets. And there's like 4 people playing at once. And when we would play, it was like against the computer, kind of like Bomberman. This is a party game. I'll fire it up so you can try it. But it's
Please don't.
The kind of not tonight.
I remember it.
You don't. I'm shocked. No interest in Choo Choo Rocket.
Yeah. Didn't I just say that?
Unfortunate. Man. Just can't win with this kid. All right. 007. I have a Nintendo 64. I got a couple of controllers that are in good shape, but the problem with the Nintendo 64 is, real quick, you start when it comes to multiple controllers. I hit that controller with like the wobbly stick, so I really have maybe 2 that function. I got a Nintendo 64, 2 controllers, and I don't have I don't have GoldenEye, but I do have Perfect Dark. So if you brought your 64, I could bring my 2 controllers and Perfect Dark, and then we'd have 4, and then that's something. But let's read on. I'm getting sidetracked again. Yeah, and Quake 3 Arena. Yeah, we could play Quake 3 Arena on the Dreamcast. We could. Quake 3 Arena is old enough that we could... I think at that point we could just bring laptops, right? Bring laptops and like an old-fashioned switch hub, Ethernet switch hub, and then just play Quake 3 Arena like on laptops. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only PC gamer hardcore enough to do something like that. But as of right now, it's just you and me who have expressed interest and no one else. So I guess that just means like, hey, you should come over to my house sometime and play games, and that's TCR Fest.
Sorry about COVID-19, guys.
All right.
That ain't happening until this...
COVID-19's not going to last forever.
I know, but at least in the meantime, better safe than sorry.
You got to think positive. Look, you have to remember that this is going to be favorably adjudicated, favorably brought to a close, somehow, some way. Right?
I am positive.
Okay, good.
I see in positive film, not negative film, because otherwise that would just be plain darn weird.
I gave you my autograph, and you wrote on it. I wrote the word butt on a piece of paper for you, and you wrote faces. At least you spelled it right.
Well, I'm sorry. Did I offend you?
All right, let's get back to the email. The Zombies Doomed My Neighbors mod that Eric Controller brought up looks like a great idea for Doom Night, whenever that might make a comeback. When can we play games? Let's figure out when we can play games. Is a weekday better for you, or is a weekend night better for you? We played some Magic 2014 once. That was fun. I've since gone back and earned another deck so that we can play again. You mentioned Sonic Kart Racing conversion for Doom. Were you referring to Sonic Robo Blast 2? Let's pop open the link so we can see it. It's been so long since I played it. I don't know if it is or not. It might actually be. Yeah, I think it is. Sonic Robo Blast 2. Now take a look at this game. This was built in Doom, and it looks zero like Doom. Like, this is a completely different game. But it's good stuff, man. Good stuff indeed. Death Adder was interested in playing Morrowind on the console. I'm not sure how it runs on the 360 or the Xbox One, but I do know that Morrowind on the original Xbox is not the most stable game ever created. There's a lot of superstition/rumors around preventing crashes. It may or may not have anything to do with the file size of the game that tends to grow the longer you play. So with that said, here are a few easy things you can do to minimize your game freezes. 1. First things first is to turn off autosaves. 2. Make sure you close doors behind you. I remember you telling me that one. That's a little weird, but I remember that one. 3. Always dispose of bodies after killing anything. It's pretty easy. It just requires a few extra button presses. Number 4. Create a new save file every time you save and just delete the old ones as you go. Supposedly saving over an old file may increase your chances of a crash. Alright. Can we talk about this? Does anybody else not dispose of bodies when they kill things in Morrowind? I always dispose of the body. Do you guys just like to leave a trail of like dead monsters behind you when you go adventuring in that game? I don't know. And I've revisited Morrowind recently because I wanted to pass the 100-hour mark, and it's the same way. I always dispose of the bodies. To the point where when I fight like a quest monster, and there have been a couple instances where like it wouldn't let me dispose of the body, and I threw a fit because there was a dead body there I couldn't deal with. But let's get back to the email. If you're still having problems with Morrowind freezing, you may also try, number 1, sleeping for 3 days straight and then creating a new save file. This may clean up the game file, supposedly. 2, turn off shaders in the option menu. 3, travel to St. Anne's Harbor. There is a truck near the dock. Use the HM strength to push the truck, and underneath you will find the legendary Mew. Oh wait, wrong game. Sorry. Do you know what he's talking about?
Something in Pokemon?
Yeah. It's an old school thing. As a last ditch, you can turn the music completely off. I would hate to play this game without the music because the soundtrack is part of what makes the game so charming. However, allegedly, this really helps with the crashes. Death Adder, let us know how your Morrowinding goes. Absolutely, man, because it was one of the things that stopped me from dropping the $10 and getting it on the original Xbox is the instability that I was told about. That's really unstable. That is a lot of hoops to jump through to get it to stop things from crashing. So I would be interested to know how it goes on the newer hardware, right? You're playing it on Xbox One, right? Any of your friends have an Xbox One? You played Xbox One, right? Don't say anybody's real name. But yeah, dead silent. Direct questions are met with dead silent. Woo!
The only time I'm dead silent is when I'm not supposed to be, it seems.
So this was one of the junior stories that I told on the air like a while back. Like one of the first times you came to me and were like, "This is a game that I played at my buddy's house, and this is what I want us to get. It's the new modern game." It was John Madden Football, right? Madden, and then a year, Madden 18, Madden something like that.
Yeah, my friend has that.
Yeah. You like?
I'm pretty sure it's 18.
Madden 18. This has been a little while. That was a while ago. Do you get right the reason why that's silly?
No.
Okay, so Madden Football. John Madden was a coach like in the 70s or something, long time ago, and through the late 80s and in the 90s, he was on TV. He would commentate the football games. Okay, so he made a football game in 1992 called John Madden Football. And every year since 1992, John Madden Football has come out. And they're always exactly the same. So what happens is the new one comes out and it's $60. And the previous year's version, which is the same game, drops to like nothing. That's why it's silly. They sell because there's people who like don't play video games but only play those. Like when they think, hey, let's play video games, they just default to let's play Madden because that's the only game that matters to them. Like it has its own weird hardcore following because it's mostly like sports people.
That just sounds weird.
I don't know. I have one of the older Madden games. Like we could try it together if you wanted. They're good games. The only problem is they're all the same. So there was another game in the 90s where they took the engine and they replaced all the players with monsters. And they added like a trick play where you could bribe the referee and you could kill the referee. It was called Mutant League Football. It was actually really fun.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know what your idea of fun is.
Okay, back to the email. You spoke about modding your Game Boy. I'd love to hear about any of your modding adventures. Keep us posted. How were those brownies? I think they were like what does mommy put in the brownies? It's something that only she eats. Brewer's yeast. Yeah, it's something that you only give to mommies. So I didn't get to have any, but she liked them. So did you show your son the Sega Saturn? If so, what did he think? He wasn't interested. Are you interested in the Sega Saturn? That's this box right here.
If it's got any cool space facts, yes.
it plays video games. It rivaled the PS1 in its day. So think like more recent than Nintendo. Like it's the big follow up to this. When this was new, I'm pointing to a Sega Genesis that I have on my desktop. That was like the next big thing from Sega.
Well, it depends on how many good games you have on it.
Good games? I'll
And
show
they
you.
have to be good games.
I got a couple. Alright. So these weren't like the great games, but you can see what a game would look like. I've got a folder with some backups that have some like the real good games. Like you know Dodonpachi that we played at MagFest? That's the sequel to a game called Donpachi, which I have on the Sega Saturn.
Which I've heard of.
Yeah, so this is a Sega Saturn game. They had jewel cases that were enormous, but when you opened it up, it was just a regular CD. That's all that's in there. So this game is called Myst.
I think we have a board game for that.
Yeah, we do.
Weird.
This particular game you wouldn't like because this was like a tricky adventure game that was only for grown-ups, and you had to be super smart. I remember at the time.
Are you calling me not super smart?
No, I'm implying you're not super
Slap,
smart.
slap,
It's not the
slap,
same thing.
slap.
Okay. This is called Black Fire. This is where you play as a helicopter pilot.
I think they're mistaken by smoke.
See, the thing is, 3D graphics were just coming in vogue at the time, and all of the games were using 3D graphics. This is like the pack-in game. This is called Virtua Fighter 2. This one's actually really fun. It looks kind of primitive to today's standards, but that's a great game. This is like the game that everybody who has a Sega Saturn knows this game, Virtua Fighter 2. And then I have Need for Speed, which is kind of cool, but I don't have the box for it, because Sega Saturn games are kind of expensive.
We already have speed, because the Earth is rotating, and it's also orbiting the sun, and blah, 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 blah.
Can you even hear me when I talk to you? Like, do you?
Sometimes I can. Sometimes I'm completely not paying attention and or don't care.
I think that's most of the time.
Yes, baby, yes.
Woof, that was a little bit of reality. Kind of broke my heart a little bit on that one. Alright, alright, let's go to... Yeah, that was it. So, thanks, Hemrock, for the email. You can see I didn't bother too much with the Sega Saturn. But, I think if he chilled out, because he's kind of hyperdrive right now, if he chilled out a little bit, I think he would really dig it. Tomorrow is Saturday. That's video game day. When he's playing, you play Minecraft or Trackmania or Bloons. Those are like the three last few games you've been into. Probably Trackmania, right? Don't get in my face, please. Please. I might fire up the Sega Saturn and play some of my nicer games while you're playing Trackmania. And then you can at least by proxy, you'll be able to look over and say, hey, that's what the thing is. It's got some good games, man. Do you remember, did you go to the... Okay. Alright, we're headed over to YouTube to read the YouTube comments. This is another great place to get in touch with the show. You know what it is. Any place where you can find TCR, if there's a comment section, just leave something and it's liable to be read on the air. We got one from Death Adder of the Death Adder Super Show, who writes, Oblivion has been great, although I've been storing all my items in this one chest. And I think the items glitched out of there. That was pretty heartbreaking. The OG Xbox Morrowind is downloadable on the Xbox One. I saw some video comparing load times. Instead of taking 1 minute and 20 seconds to load, it only takes 20 seconds now. That is great. That doesn't just mean the load times are faster. It indicates that it's taking full advantage of being run on better hardware. As opposed to, say, like when you play a Super Nintendo game on an emulator and the performance is essentially the same, right? It's actually using the optimization of the better hardware or whatever. So hopefully that'll carry over and make it a little bit more stable. But let's read on. There are a few OG Xbox games that are playable on the Xbox One, like Knights of the Old Republic and the old Battlefront games. but no hand-holding and no achievements. What am I, boomer? And there's an option to stop autoplay on Netflix. My wife figured it out. I think you have to get on your laptop to do it. It makes Netflix 100% less obnoxious. Good to know. I mentioned that to my wife today, and she was like, "Oh, really?" We haven't actually gone into the settings to do it, but it's a thing.
Okay.
Okay, so let's read on. I never saw the newest Freddy. I can't have a Freddy movie without Robert Englund. Yeah. Watching the old Nightmare on Elm Street movies, they're way different, man. I saw the second one as well. They're way more like playful and impish, whereas the new one, it's all serious business. This is still a fun movie, though. I kind of wish they made another one. All right. He says, I'm not sure when I saw Nightmare on Elm Street, but I do remember Jason Takes Manhattan the first time I saw Friday the 13th. I think that is why I took the look of Jason where he's basically dripping in slime as my favorite look for him. All right. I saw a scene from Jason Takes Manhattan very early on. You know the scene where like the guy like tries to fight with him on like a roof or something, and then Jason ends up just killing him with the machete? I never saw the movie Jason Takes Manhattan, but it was one of those things where it was on television when I was very young, so there was like an edited version. And I remember watching like one or two of the kills that were like as much as they're already edited in that movie, they were edited down even further so they could be on television. And that's what I saw. Mecha Menace is immune to the coronavirus. He eats nutritional yeast. I hope you're right. Mushrooms on a sandwich. I'd rather eat a sandwich made out of actual sand. I think that's where you and I have to part ways, sir. So here's the deal. When my wife and I were dating, we had a cheesecake factory that was around here. As a matter of fact, it was in a mall, which is now an enormous hole in the ground. But at the time, it was a big, glorious mall with the neon lights and everything. And they had a cheesecake factory, and we went there, and I ordered a mushroom burger. Now, it wasn't a burger that had mushrooms on it. It was a burger where the mushroom patty, or where the beef patty, was replaced with a giant mushroom cap. And that was the burger. I ate this thing, and I talked to my wife about it for literally 10 years after I had that sandwich, because that place ended up getting exploded. The whole mall is gone. But I loved it so much, and I've had mushroom burgers like that. Again, giant portobello mushroom cap instead of a beef patty. They never stacked up to that one time at the Cheesecake Factory. At the Cheesecake Factory at the local mall, which closed down and was demolished and is now a giant hole in the ground. I kind of miss that place, to be honest. Back to no, that is the comment. That is the comment from Death Adder. Hope you're doing well. Hope your life is good. He did another one that says at 56 minutes and 48 seconds. See Andy Richter. Do you know who Andy Richter is, kiddo? No, you don't know who he is. He was a guy. There was a late night talk show where there's this guy with the red hair who used to talk and make jokes. I used to watch with your uncle when we were young. And Andy Richter was like the guy who sat on the couch and go, "Oh, yeah." He was like the sidekick. Yeah. That was Andy Richter. He's saying like you're the Andy Richter of the show. Can you go, "Oh, yeah"? Dead nope. Silent. Dead silent. You are fired as the Andy Richter. I hope you hold on to this autograph that I made for you, because that's all you're going to get.
Well, then don't look at the recycling, man.
What's on my shelf? Mecha Menace, our good friend, right? Zombies Ate My Neighbors 3D glasses style and monster movie theme where the kids know what's up, but the old people are clueless. Most likely was inspired by the 50s revival that you saw in popular media in the 80s, specifically Back to the Future. Other nods to the 50s in the early 90s and 80s can be seen in this specific bump between ABC cartoons and all over Nickelodeon. Lots of acapella and bebop. Right, we had that movie Matinee with what was it, John Goodman? That movie was awesome. All right, we're going to pause this so I can watch this bumper with my son. Give me 1 second here. That took me back pretty hard. Junior here didn't get it at all, but he's never had to watch live TV with commercials before. Have you ever had to watch live TV with commercials before? We don't really watch a lot of sports together. That's really where people do it now, is when they watch sports. Did you watch the Super Bowl with Grandpa this year?
I watched a little before you forced my face into bed.
Okay, for some context, Grandpa likes to tape the Super Bowl, and he likes to watch it like 45 minutes late so he can fast forward and stuff. So it was already late, and a school night because it was Sunday. So don't be too mad.
Yeah.
All right, how we doing with comments? Yes, back to Mecha Menace. I don't think I would break out of the DC. I don't think I would break out the DC VMU for some on-the-go fun as I used to do so. Raising the ultimate chow. Anyone? Is that a VMU gag that I don't get? But thanks to Hemrock for pointing out a DC mod for rechargeable batteries. I guess the Sega was really pushing the dollar back then by pushing out a steady supply of necessary accessories that included a screen and buttons. I think the MVU is probably an indie playground due to its limited scope, but the battery mod might revive interest. Dreamcast has already been pretty lively indie scene for a dead system. Yeah, I agree. I remember when my Dreamcast came, the DC ISO zone was still around. It's gone now, but technically, and the reason why they went under was because of all the illegal ROMs you could download, but they also had stuff like you could burn a disk that sole purpose was to change the icon on that VMU. And there were ones that were just, hey, but you burn the ISO and that's all it is. It's a VMU game. And then you hook it up, you load it in the Dreamcast, and it changes the game on the VMU. I know you don't know what I'm talking about. It's okay. Yeah, man, I really like. It's funny. I could, as far as the Dreamcast is concerned, the games were pretty cool, but I'm more interested in playing with that VMU. I could throw a couple of CR32s at it. I know it burned through batteries, but that's okay. Let's see. Wow, I checked out the Sonic Racer Do mod, and I saw the precipice of a rabbit hole. I had to stop. Someone used that engine to make a Sonic-themed Nights into Dreams. All are free. It's something that little me would be all over. Yeah, I know, man. Me too. Let me know if YouTube puts this comment in the To Be Approved tab. It only includes a link to other YouTube videos. Also, let me know if YouTube sends an email notification. I know I'm making you part of my experiment, but I've noticed YouTube failing to notify me when comments on my videos, even the new ones, have been posting recently. So I want to know how to leave comments on other people's videos so that they are seen. I don't think the bell went off for this one, but it didn't put it in the one where it did not put it in the one where it's like I have to approve it. Did I miss any? Let's see. I think that's all of them. I have two that are likely spam. Let's see what they are. Ronald Miller said at 36 seconds in, dirkgirl.com, which, yeah, is probably spam. Commando A New Way says, there's a similar game in 2020. Now I play only in it. He said that on my Commando. Yeah, you know what? Clearly spam. I'm approving it anyway. That's okay. And this one, no. All right. I think that is the fail bag. And with that, boys and girls, we peeking? I think we were peeking hard. No, we're okay. With that, boys and girls, we've come to the end. I usually like to wish you guys, send some positive vibes your way, and now I think we need that more than ever. Whatever it is that you're doing, if you're holed up in your hidey holes, doing whatever you can, just keep at it. Like I was saying earlier, this too will pass. And you have to stay as positive as possible, because that's really our only defense, is just do whatever we can to maintain our resolve. So I'm lifting my cup of hot tea that's been out for a couple hours now. Lifting it up to you, boys and girls. Keep at it. Have a good night's sleep tonight. I'll see you next Monday.